Act One of The Broken Heart by John Ford. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Dramatis Personae.
Amicus, read by David Prickett.
Ithacles, read by Stuart Parton.
Orgulus, read by Thomas Peter.
Bassanis, read by Brad Philippone.
Almostes, read by Mike Harris.
Crotalon, read by Mark Thornton.
Prophilus, read by Linda B.
Nearchus, read by Alan Mapstone.
Technicus, read by Tavarish.
Hemophil, read by Anna Simon.
Gronius, read by Adrian Stroat.
Amalus, read by Todd.
Fulus, read by David Purdy.
Calantha, read by Sonia.
Penthea, read by Charlotte Duckett.
Euphrania, read by Kay Hand.
Crystalla, read by Sawasawaya.
Philema, read by Lian Yao.
Grouses, read by Avai.
Narration, read by Chuck Williamson. Prologue. Our scene is Sparta. He whose best of art hath drawn this piece calls it The Broken Heart. The title lends no expectation here of apish laughter or of some lame jeer. At place or persons no pretended clause of jests fit for a brothel court's applause. From vulgar admiration, such low songs tuned to unchaste ears suit not modest tongues. The virgin sisters then deserved fresh bays, when innocence and sweetness crowned their lays. Then vices gasped for breath, whose whole commerce was whipped to exile by unblushing verse. This law we keep in our presentment now, not to take freedom more than we allow. What may be here thought fiction, when time's youth wanted some riper years, was known a truth, in which, if words have clothed the subject right, you may partake a pity with delight. Act One, Scene 1. A room in Crotalon's house. Enter Crotalon and Orgulus.
Dally not further. I will know the reason that speeds thee to this journey.
Reason? Good sir, I can yield many.
Give me one, a good one. Such I expect, and ere we part must have. Athens! Pray, why to Athens? You intend not to kick against the world, turn cynic, stoic, or read the logic lecture, or become an Areopagite, and judge in cases touching the Commonwealth? For, as I take it, the budding of your chin cannot prognosticate so grave an honour.
All this I acknowledge.
You do? Then, son, if books and love of knowledge inflame you to this travel, here in Sparta you may as freely study.
'Tis not that, sir.
Not that, sir? As a father, I command thee to acquaint me with the truth.
Thus I obey. After so many quarrels as dissension, fury and rage had broached in blood, and sometimes with death to such confederates as sided with now dead Thrasus and yourself, my lord. Our present king, Amicus, reconciled your eager swords and sealed a gentle peace. Friends you professed yourselves, which to confirm a resolution for a lasting league betwixt your families was entertained, by joining in a Hymenean bond, me and the fair Penthea, only daughter to Thrasus.
What of this?
Much, much, dear sir. A freedom of converse, an interchange of holy and chaste love, so fixed our souls in a firm growth of union, that no time can eat into the pledge. We had enjoyed the sweets our vows expected, had not cruelty prevented all those triumphs we prepared for, by Thrasus' untimely death.
Most certain.
From this time sprouted up that poisonous stalk of aconite, whose ripened fruit hath ravished all health, all comfort of a happy life. For Ithacles, her brother, proud of youth, and prouder in his power, nourished closely the memory of former discontents, to glory in revenge. By cunning partly by threats, woos at once and forces his virtuous sister to admit a marriage with Bassanus, a nobleman, in honour and riches, I confess, beyond my fortunes.
All this is no sound reason to importune my leave for thy departure.
Now it follows. Beauteous Penthea, wedded to this torture by an insulting brother, being secretly compelled to yield her virgin freedom up to him who never can usurp her heart before contracted mine, is now so yoked to a most barbarous thraldom, misery, affliction, that he savours not humanity, whose sorrow melts not into more than pity in hearing but her name.
And how, pray?
Bassanus, the man that calls her wife, considers truly what heaven of perfections he is lord of, by thinking fair Penthea his. This thought begets a kind of monster love, which love is nurse unto a fear so strong and servile as brands all dotage with a jealousy. All eyes who gaze upon that shrine of beauty he doth resolve do homage to the miracle. Some one, he is assured, may now or then, if opportunity but sort, prevail. So much out of a self-unworthiness his fears transport him, not that he finds cause in her obedience, but his own distrust.
You spin out your discourse.
My griefs are violent, for knowing how the maid was heretofore courted by me, his jealousies grow wild that I should steal again into her favours, and undermine her virtues, which the gods know I nor dare nor dream of. Hence, from hence I undertake a voluntary exile. First, by my absence to take off the cares of jealous Bassanus, but chiefly, sir, to free Penthea from a hell on earth. Lastly, to lose the memory of something her presence makes to live in me afresh.
Enough, my Aurelius, enough. To Athens I give a full consent. Alas, good lady, we shall hear from thee often?
Often.
See, thy sister comes to give a farewell.
Enter Euphranea.
Brother.
Euphranea, thus upon thy cheeks I print a brother's kiss, more careful of thine honour, thy health, and thy well-doing than my life. Before we part, in presence of our father, I must prefer a suit to ye.
You may style it, my brother, a command.
That you will promise to pass never to any man, however worthy, your faith, till, with our father's leave, I give a free consent.
An easy motion. I'll promise for her, Aurelius.
Your pardon. Euphranea's oath must yield me satisfaction.
By Vesta's sacred fires I swear.
And I, by great Apollo's beams, join in the vow, not without thy allowance to bestow her on any living.
Dear Euphranea, mistake me not. Far, far 'tis from my thought, as far from any wish of mine, to hinder preferment to an honourable bed or fitting fortune. Thou art young and handsome, and to injustice, more, a tyranny, not to advance thy merit. Trust me, sister, it shall be my first care to see thee matched as may become thy choice in our contents. I have your oath.
You have. But mean you, brother, to leave us, as you say?
Ay, ay, Euphranea, he has just grounds direct him. I will prove a father and a brother to thee.
Heaven does look into the secrets of all hearts. Gods, you have mercy with ye, else.
Doubt nothing. Thy brother will return in safety to us.
Souls sunk in sorrows never are without him. They change fresh airs, but bear their griefs about him.
Exeunt omnes. Scene 2. A room in the palace. Flourish. Enter Amyclas the king, Armistes, Prophilus, courtiers and attendants.
The Spartan gods are gracious. Our humility shall bend before their altars, and perfume their temples with abundant sacrifice. See, lords, Amyclas, your old king, is entering into his youth again. I shall shake off this silver badge of age, and change this snow for hairs as gay as are Apollo's locks. Our hearts leap in new vigour.
May old time run back to double your long life, great sir.
It will. It must. Armistice. Thy bold nephew, death-breathing Ithacles, brings to our gates triumphs and peace upon his conquering sword. Laconia is a monarchy at length, hath in this latter war trod under foot Messene's pride. Messene bows her neck to Lacedaemon's royalty. Oh, 'twas a glorious victory, and doth deserve more than a chronicle, a temple, lords, a temple to the name of Ithacles. Where didst thou leave him, Prophilus?
At Pethon, most gracious sovereign. 20 of the noblest of the Messenians there attend your pleasure, for such conditions as you shall propose in settling peace and liberty of life.
When comes your friend, the general?
He promised to follow with all speed convenient.
Enter Calantha, Euphranea, Crystalla, and Philema, with a garland, and Crotalon.
Our daughter! Dear Calantha, the happy news, the conquest of Messene, hath already enriched thy knowledge.
With the circumstance and manner of the fight, related faithfully by Prophilus himself. But pray, sir, tell me, how doth the youthful general demean his actions in these fortunes?
Excellent princess, your own fair eyes may soon report a truth unto your judgment, with what moderation, calmness of nature, measure, bounds, and limits of thankfulness and joy, doth digest such amplitude of his success, as would in others, moulded of a spirit less clear, advance unto comparison with heaven. But Ithacles—
Your friend.
He is so, madam, in which the period of my fate consists. He in this firmament of honour stands like a star fixed, not moved with any thunder of popular applause, or sudden lightning of self-opinion. He hath served his country, and thinks 'twas but his duty.
You describe a miracle of man.
Such, Crotalon, on forfeit of a king's word, thou wilt find him.
Flourish.
Hark! Warning of his coming. All attend him.
Enter Ithacles, Hemophil, and Gronius, the rest of the lords ushering him in.
Return into these arms, thy home, thy sanctuary, delight of Sparta, treasure of my bosom, mine own Ithacles.
Your humblest subject.
Proud of the blood I claim an interest in. As brother to thy mother, I embrace thee, right noble nephew.
Sir, your love's too partial.
Our country speaks by me, who by thy valour, wisdom, and service shares in this great action, returning thee, in part of thy due merits, a general welcome.
You exceed in bounty.
Crystalla, Philema, the chaplet.
Takes the chaplet from them.
Ithacles, upon the wings of fame, the singular and chosen fortune of an high attempt is borne so past the view of common sight, that I myself with mine own hands have wrought, to crown thy temples, this provincial garland. Accept, wear and enjoy it as our gift, deserved, not purchased.
You are a royal maid.
She is in all our daughter.
Let me blush, acknowledging how poorly I have served what nothings I have done, compared with the honours heaped on the issue of a willing mind. In that lay mine ability, that only. For who is he, so sluggish from his birth, so little worthy of a name or country, that owes not, out of gratitude for life, a debt of service, in what kind soever safety or counsel of the commonwealth requires for payment?
He speaks truth.
Whom heaven is pleased to style victorious, there to such applause runs madding, like the drunken priests in Bacchus's sacrifices, without reason, voicing the leader on a demigod, whenas indeed each common soldier's blood drops down as current coin in that hard purchase as his whose much more delicate condition hath sucked the milk of ease. Judgment commands, but resolution executes. I use not before this royal presence these fit slights, as in contempt of such can direct. My speech hath other end, not to attribute all praise to one man's fortune, which is strengthened by many hands. For instance, here is Prophilus, a gentleman, I cannot flatter truth, of much desert, and, though in other rank, both Hemophil and Gronius were not missing to wish their country's peace. For, in a word, all there did strive their best, and 'twas our duty.
Courtiers turned soldiers, we vouchsafe our hand.
Hemophil and Gronius kiss his hand.
Observe your great example.
With all diligence.
Obsequiously and hourly.
Some repose after these toils is needful. We must think on conditions for the conquered. They expect 'em. On. Come, my Ithacles.
Sir, with your favour, I need not a supporter.
Fate instructs me.
Exeunt. Hemophil stays Crystalla. Gronius, Philema.
With me?
Indeed, I dare not stay.
Sweet lady, soldiers are blunt. Your lip.
Fie, this is rudeness. You went not hence, such creatures.
Spirit of valour is of a mounting nature.
It appears so. Pray, in earnest, how many men apiece have you two been the death of?
Fate, not many. We were composed of mercy.
For our daring, you heard the general's approbation before the king.
You wished your country's peace. That showed your charity. Where are your spoils, such as the soldier fights for?
They are coming.
By the next carrier, are they not?
Sweet Philema, when I was in the thickest of mine enemies, slashing off one man's head, another's nose, another's arms and legs,
and all together,
then would I with a sigh remember thee, and cry, Dear Philema, 'tis for thy sake I do these deeds of wonder. Dost not love me with all thy heart now?
Now as heretofore. I have not put my love to use. The principal will hardly yield an interest.
By Mars, I'll marry thee.
By Vulcan, you're forsworn, except my mind do alter strangely.
One word.
You lie beyond all modesty. Forbear me.
I'll make thee mistress of a city. 'Tis mine own by conquest.
By petition. Sue fort and form a pauperous. City, kennel. Gallants, off with your feathers. Put on aprons, gallants. Learn to reel, thrum, or trim a lady's dog. And be good quiet souls of peace, hobgoblins.
Crystalla.
Practice to drill hogs in hope to share in the acorns. Soldiers, corn cutters, but not so valiant. They oft times draw blood, which you durst never do. When you have practised more wit or more civility, we'll rank you in the list of men. Till then, brave things at arms, dare not to speak to us, most potent Gronius.
And Hemophil the hardy, at your services.
Exeunt Crystalla and Philema.
They scorn us as they did before we went.
Hang 'em. Let us scorn them and be revenged.
Shall we?
We will, and when we slight them thus, instead of following them, they'll follow us. It is a woman's nature.
'Tis a scurvy one.
Exeunt. Scene 3. The gardens of the palace. A grove. Enter Technicus, a philosopher, and Orgelus, disguised like a scholar of his.
Tempt not the stars. Young man, thou canst not play with the severity of fate. This change of habit and disguise in outward view hides not the secrets of thy soul within thee from their quick piercing eyes, which dive at all times down to thy thoughts. In thy aspect I note a consequence of danger.
Give me leave, grave Technicus, without foredooming destiny, under thy roof to ease my silent griefs, by applying to my hidden wounds the balm of thy oraculous lectures. If my fortune runs such a crooked byway as to wrest my steps to ruin, yet thy learned precepts shall call me back and set my footing straight. I will not court the world.
Ah, Orgulus, neglects in young men of delights and life run often to extremities. They care not for harms to others who contemn their own.
But I, most learned artist, am not so much at odds with nature that I grudge the thrift of any true deserver, nor doth malice of present hope so check them with despair as that I yield to thought of more affliction than what is incident to frailty. Wherefore impute not this retired course of living some little time to any other cause than what I justly render, the information of an unsettled mind, as the effect must clearly witness.
Spirit of truth, inspire thee. On these conditions I conceal thy change, and willingly admit thee for an auditor. I'll to my study.
I to contemplations in these delightful walks.
Exit Technicus.
Thus metamorphosed, I may without suspicion hearken after Penthea's usage and Euphronia's faith. Love, thou art full of mystery. The deities themselves are not secure in searching out the secrets of those flames, which, hidden, waste a breast made tributary to the laws of beauty. Physic yet hath never found a remedy to cure a lover's wound. Ha! Who are those that crossed yon private walk into the shadowing grove and amorous foldings?
Prophilus passeth over, supporting Euphronia and whispering.
My sister! Oh, my sister! 'Tis Euphronia, with Prophilus, supported too. I would it were an apparition. Prophilus is Ithacles' friend. It strangely puzzles me. Again, help me, my book. The scholar's habit must stand my privilege. My mind is busy, mine eyes and ears are open.
Walks by, reading. Re-enter Prophilus and Euphronia.
Do not waste the span of this stolen time, lent by the gods for precious use and niceness. Bright Euphronia, should I repeat old vows, or study new, for purchase of belief to my desires?
Orgulus, aside.
Desires.
My service, my integrity.
That's better.
I should but repeat a lesson oft conned without a prompter but thine eyes. My love is honourable.
So is mine to my Penthea, chastely honourable.
Nor wants there more addition to my wish of happiness than having thee a wife. Already sure of Ithacles, a friend firm and unalterable.
But a brother more cruel than the grave.
What can you look for, in answer to your noble protestations, from an unskilful maid, but language suited to a divided mind?
Hold out, Euphronia.
No, Prophilus, I never undervalued, from the first time you mentioned worthy love, your merit, means, or person, it had been a fault of judgment in me, and a dullness in my affections, not to weigh and thank my better stars that offered me the grace of so much blissfulness. For to speak truth, the law of my desires kept equal pace with yours, nor have I left that resolution. But only, in a word, whatever choice lives nearest in my heart, must first procure consent both from my father and my brother, ere he can own me his.
She has forsworn else.
Leave me that task.
My brother, ere he parted to Athens, had my oath.
Yes, yes, I had, sure.
I doubt not with the means the court supplies, but to prevail at pleasure.
Very likely.
Meantime, best, dearest, I may build my hopes on the foundation of thy constant sufferance in any opposition.
Death shall sooner divorce life and the joys I have in living than my chaste vows from truth.
On thy fair hand I seal the like.
There is no faith in woman. Passion, oh, be contained. My very heartstrings are on the tenters.
Sir, we are overheard. Cupid protect us. 'Twas a stirring, sir, of some one near.
Your fears are needless, lady. None have access into these private pleasures, except some near in court, or bosom student from Technicus his oratory, granted by special favour lately from the king unto the grave philosopher.
Methinks I hear one talking to himself. I see him.
'Tis a poor scholar, as I told you, lady.
I am discovered.
Half aloud to himself, as if studying.
Say it, is it possible with a smooth tongue, a leering countenance, flattery or force of reason? I come to ye, sir, to turn or to appease the raging sea. Answer to that. Your art. What art to catch and hold fast in a net the sun's small atoms? No, no, they'll out, they'll out. Ye may as easily outrun a cloud driven by a northern blast as fiddle faddle so. Peace, or speak sense.
Call you this thing a scholar? Lass, he's lunatic.
Observe him, sweet. 'Tis but his recreation.
But will you hear a little? You're so touchy you keep no rule in argument. Philosophy works not upon impossibilities, but natural conclusions. You absurd! The metaphysics are but speculations of the celestial bodies, or such accidents as not mixed perfectly in the air engendered appear to us unnatural. That's all. Prove it yet, with a reverence to your gravity. I'll balk illiterate sauciness, submitting my sole opinion to the touch of writers.
Now let us fall in with him.
They come forward.
Ha 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 ha! These apish boys, when they but taste the grammats and principles of theory, imagine they can oppose their teachers. Confidence leads many into errors.
By your leave, sir.
Are you a scholar, friend?
I am, gay creature, with pardon of your deities, a mushroom on whom the dew of heaven drops now and then. The sun shines on me too, I thank his beams. Sometime I feel their warmth, and eat and sleep.
Does Technicus read to thee?
Yes, forsooth, he's my master, surely. Yonder door opens upon his study.
Happy creatures! Such people toil not, sweet, in heats of state, nor sink in thaws of greatness. Their affections keep order with the limits of their modesty. Their love is love of virtue. What's thy name?
Aplates, sumptuous master, a poor wretch.
Dost thou want anything?
Books, Venus, books.
Lady, a new conceit comes in my thought, and most available for both our comforts.
My lord?
Whiles I endeavour to deserve your father's blessing to our loves, this scholar may daily, at some certain hours, attend what notice I can write of my success here in this grove, and give it to your hands, the like from you to me. So can we never, barred of our mutual speech, want sure intelligence, and thus our hearts may talk when our tongues cannot.
Occasion is most favourable. Use it.
Aplates, wilt thou wait us twice a day, at 9 i' the morning and at 4 at night, here in this bower to convey such letters as each shall send to other? Do it willingly, safely, and secretly, and I will furnish thy study, or what else thou canst desire.
Jove, make me thankful, thankful, I beseech thee, propitious Jove. I will prove sure and trusty. You will not fail me books?
Nor aught besides thy heart can wish. This lady's name's Euphranea, mine Prophilus.
I have a pretty memory. It must prove my best friend. I will not miss 1 minute of the hours appointed.
Write the books thou wouldst have brought thee in a note, or take thyself some money.
No, no money. Money to scholars is a spirit invisible. We dare not finger it, or books, or nothing.
Books, of what sort thou wilt. Do not forget our names.
I warrant ye, I warrant ye.
Smile, Hymen, on the growth of our desires. We'll feed thy torches with eternal fires.
Exeunt Prophilus and Euphranea.
Put out thy torches, Hymen, or their light shall meet a darkness of eternal night. Inspire me, Mercury, with swift deceits. Ingenious fate has leapt into mine arms, beyond the compass of my brain. Mortality creeps on the dung of earth, and cannot reach the riddles which are purposed by the gods. Great arts best write themselves in their own stories. They die too basely who outlive their glories.
Exit. End of Act 1. Act 2 of The Broken Heart by John Ford. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Act 2, Scene 1. A room in Bassanese' house. Enter Bassanese and Phoulus.
I'll have that window next the street dammed up. It gives too full a prospect to temptation, and courts a gazer's glances. There's a lust committed by the eye that sweats and travails, plots, wakes, contrives, till the deformed bear-whelp, adultery, be licked into the act, the very act. That light shall be dammed up. D'ye hear, sir?
I do hear, my lord. A mason shall be provided suddenly.
Some rogue of your confederacy, factor for slaves and strumpets, to convey close packets from this spruce Springle and t'other youngster, that gaudy earwig, or my lord your patron, whose pensioner you are. I'll tear thy throat out, son of a cat, ill-looking hound's head, rip up thy ulcerous maw, if I but sent a paper, a scroll, but half as big as what can cover a wart upon thy nose, a spot, a pimple, directed to my lady. It may prove a mystical preparative to lewdness.
Care shall be had. I will turn every thread about me to an eye.
Aside.
Here's a sweet life.
The city housewives, cunning in the traffic of chamber merchandise, set all at price by wholesale, yet they wipe their mouths and simper, cull, kiss, and cry sweetheart, and stroke the head which they have branched, and all is well again. Dull clods of dirt, who dare not feel the rubs stuck on their foreheads.
'Tis a villainous world, one cannot hold his own in it.
Dames at court who flaunt in riots run another bias. Their pleasure heaves the patient ass that suffers up on the stilts of office, titles, incomes. Promotion justifies the shame and sues for't. Poor honour, thou art stabbed and bleeds to death by such unlawful hire. The country mistress is yet more wary, and in blushes hides whatever trespass draws her troth to guilt. But all are false. On this truth I am bold. No woman can but fall, and doth, or would. Now for the newest news about the city. What blab the voices, sirrah?
Oh, my lord, the rarest, quaintest, strangest, tickling news that ever—
Heyday, up and ride me, rascal. What is't?
Forsooth, they say the king has mewed all his grey beard, instead of which is budded another of a pure carnation colour, speckled with green and russet.
Ignorant block!
Yes, truly, and 'tis talked about the streets that since Lord Ithacles came home, the lions never left roaring, at which noise the bears have danced their very hearts out.
Dance out thine too.
Besides, Lord Orgelus is fled to Athens upon a fiery dragon, and 'tis thought a never can return.
Grant it, Apollo.
Moreover, please your lordship, 'tis reported for certain that whoever is found jealous, without apparent proof that his wife is wanton, shall be divorced. But this is she news. I had it from a midwife. I have more yet.
Antic no more. Idiots and stupid fools grate my calamities. Why, to be fair, should yield presumption of a faulty soul. Look to the doors.
Phoulus, aside.
The horn of plenty crest him.
Exit.
Swarms of confusion huddle in my thoughts in rare distemper. Beauty, oh, it is an unmatched blessing or a horrid curse.
Enter Pinthia and Grousus, an old lady.
She comes. So shoots the morning forth, spangled with pearls of transparent dew. The way to poverty is to be rich, as I in her am wealthy, but for her it all contents a bankrupt. Loved Penthea, how fares my heart's best joy?
In sooth, not well. She's so over sad.
Leave chattering magpie. Thy brother is returned, sweet, safe, and honoured with a triumphant victory. Thou shalt visit him. We will to court, where, if it be thy pleasure, thou shalt appear in such a ravishing lustre of jewels above value, that the dames who brave it there, in rage to be outshined, shall hide them in their closets, and unseen fret in their tears, whiles every wondering eye shall crave none other brightness but thy presence. Choose thy own recreations. Be a queen of what delights thou fanciest best, what company, what place, what times. Do anything, do all things youth can command, so thou wilt chase these clouds from the pure firmament of thy fair looks.
Now 'tis well said, my lord. What, lady? Laugh, be merry, time is precious.
Bassanese, aside.
Furies whip thee.
Alas, my lord, this language to your handmaid sounds as would music to the deaf. I need no braveries nor costs of art to draw the whiteness of my name into offence. Let such, if there are any, who covet the curiosity of admiration by laying out their plenty to view, appear their gaudy outsides. My attires shall suit the inward fashion of my mind. From which, if your opinion nobly placed, change not the livery of your words bestow, my fortunes with my hopes are at the highest.
This house, methinks, stands somewhat too much inward. It is too melancholy. We'll remove nearer the court. Or what thinks my Penthea of the delightful island we command? Rule me as thou canst wish.
I am no mistress. With you, please, I must attend. All ways are alike pleasant to me.
Island? Prison? A prison is as gaysome. We'll no islands. Marry, out upon them. Whom shall we see there? Seagulls and porpoises and water rats, and crabs and mews and dogfish. Goodly gear for a young lady's dealing, or an old one's. Oh, no terms islands. I'll be stewed first.
Bassanese, aside to Grousus.
Grousus, you are a juggling bawd. This sadness, sweetest, becomes not youthful blood.
Aside to Grousus.
I'll have you pounded. For my sake put on a more cheerful mirth. Thou'lt mar thy cheeks, and make me old in griefs.
Aside to Grousus.
Damnable bitch fox.
I am thick of hearing, still when the wind blows southerly. What think ye, if your fresh lady breed young bones, my lord? Would not a chopping boy do good at heart? But as you said...
Bassanese, aside to Grousus.
I'll spit thee on a stake, or chop thee into collops.
Pray speak louder. Sure, the wind blows south still.
Thou prat'st madly.
'Tis very hot. I sweat extremely.
Re-enter Foolus.
Now?
A herd of lords, sir.
Ah.
A flock of ladies.
Where?
Shoals of horses.
Peasant how?
Caroches in drifts. The one enter, t'other stand without, sir, and now I vanish.
Exit. Enter Prophilus, Hemophil, Gronius, Crystalla, and Philima.
Noble Bassanes.
Most welcome, Prophilus. Ladies, gentlemen, to all my heart is open. You all honour me.
Aside.
A tympany swells in my head already. Honour me bountifully.
Aside.
How they flutter wagtails and jays together.
From your brother, by virtue of your love to him, I require your instant presence, fairest.
He is well, sir.
The gods preserve him ever. Yet, dear beauty, I find some alteration in him lately. Since his return to Sparta, my good lord, I pray use no delay.
We had not needed an invitation, if his sister's health had not fallen into question. Haste, Penthea, slack not a minute. Lead the way, good Prophilus. I'll follow step by step.
Your arm, fair madam.
Exeunt all but Bassanese and Grousus.
One word with your old bodship. Thou hadst been better railed at the sins thou worshipst than have thwarted my will. I'll use thee cursedly.
You dote. You are beside yourself. A politician in jealousy? No, you're too gross, too vulgar. Pish, teach me not my trade, I know my cue. My crossing you sinks me into her trust, by which I shall know all. My trade's a sure one.
Forgive me, grouses. 'Twas consideration I relished not. But have a care now.
Fear not, I am no new come to't.
Thy life's upon it, and so is mine. My agonies are infinite.
Exeunt. Scene 2. The Palace. Ithacles' apartment. Enter Ithacles, alone.
Ambition! 'Tis a viper's breed. It gnaws a passage through the womb that gave it motion. Ambition, like a sealed dove, mounts upward, higher and higher still, to perch on clouds, but tumbles headlong down with heavier ruin. So squibs and crackers fly into the air, then, only breaking with a noise, they vanish in stench and smoke. Morality, applied to timely practice, keeps the soul in tune, at whose sweet music all our actions dance. But this is form of books and school tradition. It physics not the sickness of a mind broken with griefs. Strong fevers are not eased with counsel, but with best receipts and means. Means, speedy means and certain, that's the cure.
Enter Armistice and Crotolon.
You stick, Lord Crotolon, upon a point too nice and too unnecessary. Prophilus is every way desertful. I am confident that your wisdom is too ripe to need instruction from your son's tutelage.
Yet not so ripe, my lord Amostes, that it dares to dote upon the painted meat of smooth persuasion, which tempts me to a breach of faith.
Not yet resolved, my lord. Why, if your son's consent be so available, we'll write to Athens for his repair to Sparta. The king's hand will join with our desires. He has been moved to it.
Yes, and the king himself importuned Crotolon for a dispatch.
Kings may command. Their wills laws not to be questioned.
By this marriage you knit a union so devout, so hearty, between your loves to me and mine to yours, as if mine own blood had an interest in it. For Prophilus is mine, and I am his.
My lord, my lord!
What, good sir, speak your thought.
Had this sincerity been real once, my Aurelius had not been now unwived, nor your lost sister buried in a bride-bed. Your uncle here, Almostes, knows this truth, for had your father Thrasus lived... But peace dwell in his grave. I have done.
You are old and bitter.
Ithacles, aside.
He presses home the injury. It smarts. No reprehensions, uncle. I deserve 'em. Yet, gentle sir, consider what the heat of an unsteady youth, a giddy brain, green indiscretion, flattery of greatness, rawness of judgment, wilfulness and folly, thoughts vagrant as the wind and as uncertain, might lead a boy in years to. 'Twas a fault, a capital fault, for then I could not dive into the secrets of commanding love. Since when experience, by the extremes, in others, hath forced me to collect, and, trust me, Crotolon, I will redeem those wrongs with any service your satisfaction can require for current.
The acknowledgment is satisfaction. What would you more?
I'm conquered. If Euphranea herself admit the motion, let it be so. I doubt not my son's liking.
Use my fortunes. Life, power, sword, and heart, all are your own.
The princess, with your sister.
Enter Calantha, Penthea, Euphranea, Crystalla, Philema, Grousus, Bassanese, and Prophilus.
I present ye a stranger here in court, my lord. For did not desire of seeing you draw her abroad, we had not been made happy in her company.
You are a gracious princess. Sister, wedlock holds too severe a passion in your nature which can engross all duty to your husband without attendance on so dear a mistress.
To Bassanese.
'Tis not my brother's pleasure, I presume, to immure her in a chamber.
'Tis her will, she governs her own hours. Noble Ithocles, we thank the gods for your success and welfare. Our lady has of late been indisposed, else we had waited on you with the first.
How does Panthea now?
You best know, brother, for whom my health and comforts are derived.
Bassanese, aside.
I like the answer well. 'Tis sad and modest. There may be tricks yet, tricks. Have an eye, Grousus.
Now, Crotolon, the suit we joined in must not fall by too long demur.
'Tis granted, princess, for my part.
With condition that his son favour the contract.
Such delay is easy. The joys of marriage make thee, Prophilus, a proud deserver of Euphrania's love, and her of thy desert.
Most sweetly gracious.
The joys of marriage are the heaven on earth, life's paradise, great princess, the soul's quiet, sinews of concord, earthly immortality, eternity of pleasures, no restoratives like to a constant woman.
Aside.
But where is she? 'Twould puzzle all the gods but to create such a new monster. I can speak by proof, for I rest in Elysium. 'Tis my happiness.
Euphranea, how are you resolved? Speak freely. In your affections for this gentleman.
No more nor less than as his love assures me, which, if your liking with my brother's warrants, I cannot but approve in all points worthy.
So.
To Prophilus.
I know your answer.
'Tad been pity to sunder hearts so equally consented.
Enter Hemophil.
The king, Lord Ithocles, commands your presence, and, fairest princess, yours.
We will attend him.
Enter Gronius.
Where are the lords? All must unto the king without delay. The Prince of Argos
Well, sir?
is coming to the court, sweet lady.
How? The Prince of Argos?
'Twas my fortune, madam, to enjoy the honour of these happy tidings.
Panthea.
Brother.
Let me an hour hence meet you alone within the palace grove. I have some secret with you. Prithee, friend, conduct her thither, and have special care the walks be cleared of any to disturb us.
I shall.
Bassanese, aside.
How's that?
Alone. Pray, be alone. I am your creature, princess. On, my lords.
Exeunt all but Bassanese.
Alone, alone. What means that word alone? Why might not I be there? He's her brother. Brothers and sisters are but flesh and blood, and this same whoreson Cortes is temptation to a rebellion in the veins. Besides, his fine friend Prophilus must be her guardian. Why may not he dispatch a business nimbly before the other come? Or pandering for one another, be it to sister, mother, wife, cousin, anything, 'mongst youths of mettle is in request. It is so. Stubborn fate. But if I be a cuckold, and can know it, I will be fell and fell.
Re-enter Gronius.
My lord, you are called for.
Most heartily I thank ye. Where's my wife, pray?
Retired amongst the ladies.
Still I thank ye. There's an old waiter with her. Saw you her too?
She sits in the presence lobby, fast asleep, sir.
Asleep, asleep, sir.
Is your lordship troubled? You will not to the king?
Your humblest vassal.
Your servant, my good lord.
I wait your footsteps.
Exeunt. Scene 3. The gardens of the palace. A grove. Enter Prophilus and Penthea.
In this walk, lady, will your brother find you, and with your favour give me leave a little to work a preparation. In his fashion I have observed of late some kind of slackness to such alacrity as nature once and custom took delight in. Sadness grows upon his recreations, which he hoards in such a willing silence, that to question the grounds will argue little skill in friendship, and less good manners.
Sir, I'm not inquisitive of secrecies without invitation.
With pardon, lady, not a syllable of mine implies so rude a sense. The drift...
Enter Orgelus, disguised as before. To Orgelus.
Do thy best to make this lady merry for an hour.
Exit.
Your will shall be law, sir.
Prithee leave me. I have some private thoughts I would account with. Use thou thine own.
Speak on, fair nymph. Our souls can dance as well to music of the spheres as any's who have feasted with the gods.
Your school terms are too troublesome.
What heaven refines mortality from dross of earth, but such as uncompounded beauty hallows with glorified perfection?
Set thy wits in a less wild proportion.
Time can never on the white table of unguilty faith write counterfeit dishonour. Turn those eyes, the arrows of pure love, upon that fire, which once rose to a flame, perfumed with vows as sweetly scented as the incense smoking on Vesta's altars, the holiest odours, virgins' tears, sprinkled like dews to feed 'em and to increase their fervour.
Be not frantic.
All pleasures are but mere imagination, feeding the hungry appetite with steam and sight of banquet, whilst the body pines, not relishing the real taste of food. Such is the leanness of a heart divided from intercourse of troth-contracted loves. No horror should deface that precious figure, sealed with the lively stamp of equal souls.
Away! Some fury hath bewitched thy tongue. The breath of ignorance that flies from hence ripens a knowledge in me of afflictions above all sufferance. Thing of talk, be gone without reply.
Be just, Penthea, in thy commands. When thou send'st forth the doom of banishment, know first on whom it lights. Thus I take off the shroud, in which my cares are folded up from view of common eyes.
Throws off his scholar's dress.
What is thy sentence next?
Rash man! Thou layest a blemish on mine honour with the hazard of thy too desperate life. Yet I profess, by all laws of ceremonious wedlock, I have not given admittance to one thought of female change since cruelty enforced divorce betwixt my body and my heart. Why would you fall from goodness thus?
Oh, rather examine me, how I could live to say I have been much, much wronged. 'Tis for thy sake I put on this imposture. Dear Penthea, if thy soft bosom be not turned to marble, thou'lt pity our calamities. My interest confirms me thou art mine still.
Lend your hand. With both mine I clasp it. Thus kiss it. Thus kneel before ye.
You instruct my duty.
We may stand up. Have you aught else to urge of new demand? As for the old, forget it. 'Tis buried in an everlasting silence, and shall be ever. What more would ye?
I would possess my wife. The equity of very reason bids me.
Is that all?
Why, 'tis the all of me myself.
Remove your steps some distance from me. At this space, a few words I dare change. But first put on your borrowed shape.
You are obeyed. 'Tis done.
He resumes his disguise.
How, Orgelus? By promise I was thine, the heavens do witness. I can witness too, a rape done on my truth. How I do love thee yet, Orgelus, and yet must appear in tender thy freedom, for I find the constant perseveration of thy merit, by thy not daring to attempt my fame with injury of any loose conceit, which might give deeper wound to discontent. Continue this fair race. Then, though I cannot add to thy comfort, yet I shall often remember from what fortune I am fallen, and pity mine own ruin. Live, live happy, happy in thy next choice, that thou mayest people this barren age with virtue in thy issue. And, oh, when thou art married, think of me with mercy, not contempt. I hope thy wife, hearing my story, will not scorn my fall. Now let us part.
Part? Yet advise thee better. Penthea is the wife to Orgelus, and ever shall be.
Never shall nor will.
How?
Hear me. In a word I'll tell thee why. The virgin dowry which my birth bestowed is ravaged by another. My true love abhors to think that Orgelus deserves no begotten favours than a second bed.
I must not take this reason.
To confirm it, should I outlive my bondage, let me meet another worse than this, and less desired. If, of all men alive, thou shouldst but touch my lip or hand again.
Penthea, now I tell ye, you grow wanton in my sufferance. Come, sweet, thou art mine.
Uncivil sir, forbear, but I can turn affection into vengeance. Your reputation, if any, lies bleeding at my feet. Unworthy man, if ever henceforth thou appear in language, message, or letter to betray my frailty, I'll call thy former protestations lust, and curse my stars for forfeit of my judgment. Go thou, fit only for disguise, and walks to hide thy shame. This once I spare thy life. I laugh at my own confidence. My sorrows by thee are made inferior to my fortunes. If ever thou didst harbour worthy love, dare not to answer. My good genius guide me, that I may never see thee more. Go from me.
I'll tear my veil of politic French off, and stand up like a man resolved to do. Action, not words, shall show me. O Penthea!
Exit.
He sighed my name sure as he parted me. I fear I was too rough. Alas, poor gentleman, he looked not like the ruins of his youth, but like the ruins of those ruins. Honour, how much fright with weaken to preserve thee.
Walks aside. Enter Bassanese and Grousus.
Fie on thee! Damn thee, rotten maggot, damn thee! Sleep, sleep at court, and now? Aches, convulsions, imposthumes, rheums, gouts, palsies, clog thy bones a dozen years more yet.
Now you're in humours.
She's by herself, there's hope of that. She's sad, too. She's in strong contemplation. Yes, and fixed. The signs are wholesome.
Very wholesome, truly.
Hold your chops, nightmare. Lady, come. Your brother is carried to his closet. You must thither.
Not well, my lord.
A sudden fit. 'Twill off. Some surfeit or disorder. How dost, dearest?
Your news is none of the best.
Re-enter Prophilus.
The chief of men, the excellentest Ithacles, desires your presence, madam.
We are hasting to him.
In vain we labour in this course of life, to piece our journey out at length, or crave the respite of breath. Our home is in the grave.
Perfect philosophy.
Then let us care to live so, that our reckonings may fall, even when we're to make account.
He cannot fear who builds on noble grounds. Sickness or pain is the deserver's exercise, and such your virtuous brother to the world is known. Speak comfort to him, lady. Be all gentle. Stars fall but in the grossness of our sight. A good man dying, the earth doth lose a light.
Exeunt omnes. End of Act 2. Act 3 of The Broken Heart by John Ford. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Act 3, Scene 1. The Study of Technicus. Enter Technicus and Orgelus in his own shape.
Be well advised. Let not a resolution of giddy rashness choke the breath of reason.
It shall not, most sage master.
I am jealous. For if the borrowed shape so late put on infer a consequence, we must conclude some violent design of sudden nature hath shook that shadow off, to fly upon a new hatched execution. Orgulus, take heed thou hast not, under our integrity, shrouded unlawful plots. Our mortal eyes pierce not the secrets of your heart. The gods are only privy to them.
Learned Technicus, such doubts are causeless, and, to clear the truth from misconceit, the present state commands me. The Prince of Argus comes himself in person, in quest of great Calantha for his bride, our kingdom's heir. Besides, mine only sister, Euphania, is disposed to Prophilus. Lastly, the king is sending letters for me to Athens, for my quick repair to court. Please to accept these reasons.
Just once, Orgulus, not to be contradicted, yet beware of an unsure foundation. No fair colours can fortify a building faintly jointed. I have observed a growth in thy aspect of dangerous extent, sudden, and look to't, I might add certain.
My aspect? Could aught run through mine inmost thoughts, it should not sift an inclination there more than what suited with justice of mine honour.
I believe it. But know then, Orgulus, what honour is. Honour consists not in a bare opinion, by doing any act that feeds content, brave in appearance, 'cause we think it brave. Such honour comes by accident, not nature, proceeding from the vices of our passion, which makes our reason drunk. But real honour is the reward of virtue, and acquired by justice, or by valour, which for basis hath justice to uphold it. He then fails in honour who for lucre or revenge commits thefts, murders, treasons, and adulteries with such like, by entrenching on just laws whose sovereignty is best preserved by justice. Thus, as you see how honour must be grounded on knowledge, not opinion, for opinion relies on probability and accident, but knowledge on necessity and truth, I leave thee to the fit consideration of what becomes the grace of real honour, wishing success to all thy virtuous meanings.
The gods increase thy wisdom, reverend oracle, and in thy precepts make me ever thrifty.
I thank thy wish.
Exit.
Much mystery of fate lies hid in that man's fortunes. Curiosity may lead his actions into rare attempts, but let the gods be moderators still. No human power can prevent their will.
Enter Armistes with a casket.
From whence come ye?
From King Amyclas. Pardon my interruption of your studies. Here in this sealed box he sends a treasure to you, dear to him as his crown. I praise your gravity. You would examine, ponder, sift, and bolt the pith and circumstance of every tittle the scroll within contains.
What is't, Armistes?
It is the health of Sparta, the king's life, sinews and safety of the commonwealth, the sum of what the oracle delivered when he last visited the prophetic temple at Delphos. What his reasons are, for which, after so long a silence, he requires your counsel now, grave man, his majesty will soon himself acquaint you with.
Technicus takes the casket.
Apollo inspire my intellect. The Prince of Argus is entertained?
He is, and has demanded our princess for his wife, which I conceive one special cause the king importunes you for resolution of the oracle.
My duty to the king, good peace to Sparta, and fair day to Armistes.
Like to Technicus.
Exeunt. Scene 2. The Palace. Ithacles' apartment. Soft music, during which time enter Prophilus, Bassanes, Penthea, Grausus, passing over the stage. Bassanes and Grausus enter again softly, stealing to several stands, and listen.
Can you paint a thought or number every fancy in a slumber? Can you count soft minutes roving from a dial's point by moving? Can you grasp a sigh or lastly rob a virgin's on a chastely? No, oh no, yet you may sooner do both that and this and that, and never miss, than by any praise display beauty's beauty, such a glory as beyond all fate or story. All arms, all lots, all loves, all hearts, greater than those or they, do, shall, and must obey.
All silent, calm, secure. Gracious, no creaking, no noise, dost hear nothing?
Not a mouse or whisper of the wind.
The floor is matted, the bedposts sure are steel or marble. Soldiers should not affect, methinks, strains so effeminate. Sounds of such delicacy are but fawnings upon the sloth of luxury. They heighten cinders of covert lust up to a flame.
What do you mean, my lord? Speak low, that gabbling of yours will but undo us.
Chamber combats are felt, not heard.
Prophilus, within.
Awakes.
What's that?
Ithacles, within.
Who's there? Sister? I'll quit the room else.
'Tis consented.
Re-enter Prophilus.
Lord Bassanes, your brother would be private. We must forbear. His sleep hath newly left him. Please you withdraw.
By any means 'tis fit.
Pray, gentlewoman, walk too.
Yes, I will, sir.
Exeunt omnes. Ithacles discovered in a chair, and Pinthia beside him.
Sit nearer, sister, to me. Nearer yet. We had one father, in one womb took life, were brought up twins together, yet have lived at distance like two strangers. I could wish that the first pillow whereon I was cradled had proved to me a grave.
You have been happy. Then you had never known that sin of life which blots out all following glories with a vengeance, for forfeiting the last will of the dead, for whom you had your being.
Sad Panthea, thou canst not be too cruel. My rash spleen hath with a violent hand plucked from thy bosom a love-blessed heart, to grind it into dust, for which mine's now a breaking.
Not yet, heaven, I do beseech thee. First let some wild fires scorch, not consume it. May the heat be cherished with desires infinite, but hopes impossible.
Wronged soul, thy prayers are heard.
Here, lo, I breathe a miserable creature, led to ruin by an unnatural brother.
I consume in languishing affections for that trespass, yet cannot die.
The handmaid to the wages of country toil drinks of untroubled steams, with leaping kids, and with bleating lambs, and so allays her thirst secure, whilst I quench my hot sighs with fleeting of my tears.
The labourer doth eat his coarsest bread earned with his sweat, and lies him down to sleep, while every bit I touch turns indigestion to gall as bitter as Penthea's curse. Put me to any penance for my tyranny, and I will call thee merciful.
Pray kill me. Rid me of living with a jealous husband, then we will join in friendship, be again brother and sister. Kill me, pray. Nay, will ye?
How does thy lord esteem thee?
Such as one as only you have made me, a faith-breaker, a spotted whore. Forgive me, I am one. In act, not in desires, the gods must witness.
Thou dost belie thy friend.
I do not, Ithacles. For she that's wife to Audulus, and lives in known adultery with Bassanes, is at best a whore. Wilt kill me now? The ashes of our parents will assume some dreadful figure, and appeared to charge thy bloody guilt, that hast betrayed their name to infamy with this reproachful match.
After my victories abroad, at home I meet despair. Ingratitude of nature hath made my actions monstrous. Thou shalt stand a deity, my sister, and be worshipped for thy resolved martyrdom. Wronged maids and married wives shall to thy hallowed shrine offer their orisons, and sacrifice pure turtles, crowned with myrtle, if thy pity unto a yielding brother's pressure lend one finger but to ease it.
Oh, no more.
Death waits to waft me to the Stygian banks and free me from this chaos of my bondage. And till thou wilt forgive, I must endure.
Who is the saint you serve?
Friendship, or nearness of birth to any but my sister, durst not have moved that question. 'Tis a secret, sister. I dare not murmur to myself.
Let me, by your new protestations, I conjure you, partake her name.
Her name? 'Tis... I dare not.
All your respects are forged.
They are not. Peace. Calantha is the princess, the king's daughter, sole heir of Sparta. Me, most miserable, do I now love thee. For my injuries revenge thyself with bravery, and gossip my treasons to the king's ears do. Calantha knows it not yet, nor Prophilus, ray nearest.
Suppose you were contracted to her. Would it not split your very soul to see her father snatch her out from your arms, against your will, and force her on the Prince of Argos?
Trouble not the fountains of mine eyes with thine own story. I sweat in blood for it.
We are reconciled. Alas, sir, being children but two branches of one stock, 'tis not fit we should divide. Have comfort, you may find it.
Yes, in thee. Only in thee, Penthea mine.
If sorrows have not too much dulled my infected brain, I'll cheer invention for an active strain.
Bad man, why have I wronged a maid so excellent?
Enter Bassanes with a poniard. Prophilus, Gronius, Hemophil, and Grausus.
I can forbear no longer. More I will not. Keep off your hands, or fall upon my point. Patience is tired, for like a slow-paced ass ye ride my easy nature, and proclaim my sloth to vengeance a reproach and property.
The meaning of this rudeness?
He is distracted.
Oh, my grieved lord!
Sweet lady, come not near him. He holds his perilous weapon in his hand, to prick he cares not whom nor where. See, see, see!
My birth is noble, though the popular blast of vanity, as giddy as thy youth, hath reared thy name up to bestride a cloud, or progress in the chariot of the sun. I am no clod of trade to lackey pride, nor like your slave of expectation, wait the bawdy hinges of your doors, or whistle for mystical conveyance to your bed sports.
Fine humours, they become him.
How his stares, struts, puffs, and sweats! Most admirable lunacy.
But that I may conceive the spirit of wine has took possession of your soberer custom, I'd say you were unmannerly.
Dear brother.
Unmannerly? Mew, Kitling. Smooth formality is usher to the rankness of the blood, but impudence bears up the train. Indeed, sir, your fiery metal, or your springled blaze of huge renown, is no sufficient royalty to print upon my forehead the scorned cuckold.
His jealousy has robbed him of his wits. It talks and knows not what.
Yes, and a knows to whom it talks, to one that franks his lust in swine security of bestial incest.
Ha! Devil!
I will hallow it, though I blush more to name the filthiness than thou to act it.
Monster!
Draws his sword.
Sir, by our friendship.
By our bloods. Will you quite undo us, brother?
Out on him. These are his megrims, firks, and melancholies.
Well said, old touch-hole.
Kick him out of doors.
With your favour let me speak. My lord, what slackness in my obedience hath deserved this rage? Except humility and silent duty, I have drawn on your unquiet. My simplicity ne'er studied your vexation.
Light of beauty, deal not ungently with a desperate wound. No breach of reason dares make war with her whose looks are sovereignty, whose breath is balm. Oh, that I could preserve thee in fruition as in devotion.
Sir, may every evil locked in Pandora's box shower in your presence on my unhappy head. If, since you made me a partner in your bed, I have been faulty in one unseemly thought against your honour.
Purge not his griefs, Penthea.
Yes, say on, excellent creature.
To Ithacles.
Good be not a hindrance to peace and praise of virtue. All my senses are charmed with sound celestial. On, dear, on. I never gave you one ill word. Say, did I? Indeed I did not.
Nor by Juno's forehead. I was e'er guilty of a wanton error.
A goddess, let me kneel.
Alas, kind animal.
No, but for penance.
Noble sir, what is it? With gladness I embrace it. Yet pray let not my rashness teach you to be too unmerciful.
When you shall show good proof that manly wisdom, not overswayed by passion or opinion, knows how to lead your judgment, then this lady, your wife, my sister, shall return in safety home to be guided by you. But till first I can out of clear evidence approve it, she shall be my care.
Rip my bosom up, I'll stand the execution with a constancy. This torture is unsufferable.
Well, sir, I dare not trust her to your fury.
But Penthea says not so.
She needs no tongue to plead excuse, who never purposed wrong.
Virgin of reverence and antiquity, stay you behind.
Gronius to Grausus.
To court wants not your diligence.
Exeunt all but Bassanese and Grausus.
What will you do, my lord? My lady's gone. I am denied to follow.
I may see her, or speak to her once more?
And feel her too, man. Be of good cheer, she's your own flesh and bone.
Diseases desperate must find cures alike. She swore she has been true.
True, on my modesty.
Let him want truth who credits not her vows. Much wrong I did her, but her brother infinite. Rumour will voice me the contempt of manhood, should I run on this. Some way I must try to outdo art and jealousy decry.
Exeunt. Scene 3. A room in the palace. Flourish. Enter Amyclus, Nearchus leading, Calantha, Armistes, Crotalon, Euphranea, Crystalla, Philoma, and Amalus.
Cousin of Argos, what the heavens have pleased in their unchanging counsels to conclude, for both our kingdoms' weal, we must submit to. Nor can we be unthankful to their bounties, who, when we were even creeping to our grave, sent us a daughter, in whose birth our hope continues of succession. As you are entitled next, being grandchild to our aunt, so we in heart desire you may sit nearest Calantha's love, since we have ever vowed not to enforce affection by our will, but by her own choice to confirm it gladly.
You speak the nature of a right just father. I come not hither roughly to demand my cousin's thraldom, but to free mine own. Report of great Calantha's beauty, virtue, sweetness, and singular perfections courted all ears to credit what I find was published by constant truth. From which, if any service of my desert can purchase fair construction, this lady must command it.
Princely sir, so well you know how to profess observance, that you instruct your hearers to become practitioners in duty, of which number I'll study to be chief.
Chief glorious Virgin in my devotions. as in all men's wonder.
Excellent cousin, we deny no liberty. Use thine own opportunities. Armistice, we must consult with the philosophers. The business is of weight.
Sir, at your pleasure.
You told me, Crotalon, your son's returned from Athens. Wherefore comes he not to court as we commanded?
He shall soon attend your royal will, great sir.
The marriage between young Prophilus and Euphranea tastes of too much delay.
My lord.
Some pleasures at celebration of it would give life to the entertainment of the prince our kinsman. Our court wears gravity more than we relish.
Yet the heavens smile on all your high attempts without a cloud.
So may the gods protect us.
A prince a subject?
Yes, to beauty's sceptre. As all hearts kneel, so mine.
You are too courtly.
Enter Ithacles, Orgillus, and Prophilus.
Your safe return to Sparta is most welcome. I joy to meet you here, and, as occasion shall grant us privacy, will yield you reasons why I should covet to deserve the title of your respected friend. For, without compliment, believe it, Orgillus, 'tis my ambition.
Your lordship may command me, your poor servant.
Ithacles, aside.
So amorously close, so soon, my heart.
What sudden change is next?
Life to the king, to whom I here present this noble gentleman new come from Athens. Royal sir, vouchsafe your gracious hand in favour of his merit.
The king gives Orgillus his hand to kiss. Crotalon, aside.
My son preferred by Ithacles.
Our bounties shall open to thee, Orgillus. For instance, hearken thine ear. If, out of these inventions which flow in Athens, thou hast there engrossed some rarity of wit to grace the nuptials of thy fair sister, and renown our court in the eyes of this young prince, we shall be debtor to thy conceit. Think on it.
Your highness honours me.
My tongue and heart are twins.
A noble birth, becoming such a father. Worthy Orgillus, you are a guest most wished for.
May my duty still rise in your opinion, sacred princess.
Euphrania's brother, sir, a gentleman well worthy of your knowledge.
We embrace him, proud of so dear acquaintance.
I'll prepare for revels and disport. The joys of Hymen, like Phoebus in his lustre, put to flight all mists of dullness, crown the hours with gladness. No sounds but music, no discourse but mirth.
Thine arm, I prithee, Ithacles. Nay, good my lord, keep on your way. I am provided.
I dare not disobey.
Most heavenly lady.
Exeunt. Scene 4. A room in the house of Crotalon. Enter Crotalon and Orgillus.
The king hath spoke his mind.
His will he hath. But were it lawful to hold plea against the power of greatness, not the reason, haply such undershrubs as subjects sometimes might borrow of nature justice, to inform that licensed sovereignty holds without check over meek obedience.
How resolve you touching your sister's marriage? Prophilus is a deserving and a hopeful youth.
I envy not his merit, but applaud it. Could wish him thrift in all his best desires, and with a willingness in league our blood with his, for purchase of full growth in friendship. He never touched on any wrong that maliced the honour of our house, nor stirred our peace. Yet, with your favour, let me not forget under whose wing he gathers warmth and comfort, whose creature he is bound, made, and must live so.
Son, I find in thee a harsh condition. No courtesy can win it. 'Tis too rancorous.
Good sir, be not severe in your construction. I am no stranger to such easy calms as sit in tender bosoms. Lordly Ithacles hath graced my entertainment in abundance, too humbly hath descended from that height of arrogance and spleen which wrought the rape on grieved Pentheus' purity. His scorn of my untoward fortunes is reclaimed unto a courtship, almost to a fawning. I'll kiss his foot, since you will have it so.
Since I will have it so? Friend, I will have it so, without our ruin by your politic plots, or wolf of hatred snarling in your breast. You have a spirit, sir, have ye? A familiar that posts in the air for your intelligence? Some such hobgoblin hurried you from Athens, for yet you come unsent for.
If unwelcome, I might have found a grave there.
Sure, your business was soon dispatched, or your mind altered quickly.
'Twas care, sir, of my health cut short my journey, for there a general infection threatens the desolation.
And I fear thou hast brought back a worse infection with thee, infection of thy mind, which, as thou sayest, threatens the desolation of our family.
Forbid it, our dear genius. I will rather be made a sacrifice on Thrace's monument, or kneel to Ithacles, his son, in dust, than woo a father's curse. My sister's marriage with Prophilus is from my heart confirmed. May I live hated, may I die despised, if I omit to further it in all that can concern me.
I have been too rough. My duty to my king made me so earnest. Excuse it, Aurelius.
Dear sir.
Here comes Euphrania with Prophilus and Ithacles.
Enter Prophilus, Euphrania, Ithacles, Gronius, and Hemophil.
Most honoured, ever famous.
Your true friend, on earth not any truer, with smooth eyes look on this worthy couple. Your consent can, only, make them one.
They have it. Sister, thou pawn'st to me an oath, of which engagement I never will release thee, if thou aim'st at any other choice than this.
Dear brother, at him or none?
To which my blessing is added.
Which, till a greater ceremony perfect. Euphrania, lend thy hand. Here, take her, Prophilus. Live long a happy man and wife. And further, that these in presence may conclude an omen. Thus for a bridal song I close my wishes. Comforts lasting, loves increasing, like soft hours never ceasing, plenty's pleasure, peace complying, without jars or tongues envying. Hearts by holy union wedded, more than theirs by custom bedded, fruitful issues, life so graced, not by age to be defaced, budding as the year in sooth, every spring another youth. All what thought cannot beside crown this bridegroom and this bride.
You have sealed joy close to my soul. Euphrania, now I may call thee mine.
I but exchange one good friend for another.
If these gallants will please to grace a poor invention by joining with me in some slight device, I'll venture on a strain my younger days have studied for delight.
With thankful willingness I offer my attendance.
No endeavour of mine shall fail to show itself.
We will all join to wait on thy directions, Orgulus.
Oh, my good lord, your favours flow towards a too unworthy worm. But as you please, I am what you will shape me.
A fast friend.
I thank thee, son, for this acknowledgment. It is a sight of gladness.
But my duty.
Exeunt. Scene 5. Calantha's apartment in the palace. Enter Calantha, Penthea, Crystalla, and Philima.
Whoever would speak with us, deny his entrance. Be careful of our charge.
We shall, madam.
Except the king himself, give none admittance. Not any.
Madam, it shall be our care.
Exeunt Crystalla and Philima.
Being alone, Penthea, you have granted the opportunity you sought, and might at all times have commanded.
'Tis a benefit that I shall owe your goddess, even in death, for my glass of life, sweet princess, hath few minutes remaining to run down. My sands are spent, for by an inward messenger I feel the summons of departure short and certain.
You feel too much your melancholy.
Glories of human greatness are but pleasing dreams and shadows soon decaying. On the stage of my mortality, my youth have acted some scenes of vanity, drawn out at length by varied pleasures, sweetened by mixtures but tragic in issue. Beauty, pomp, in every sensuality our giddiness doth frame an idol, our inconstant friends. When any troubled passion makes assault, any unguarded castle of the mind.
Contemn not your condition for the proof of bare opinion only. To what end reach all these moral texts?
To place before ye a perfect mirror, wherein you see how weary I am, a lingering life, who count the best a misery.
Indeed, you have no little cause, yet none so great as to distrust a remedy.
That remedy must be a winding sheet, a fold of lead, and some untrodden corner of the earth. Not to detain your expectations, princess, I have a humble suit.
Speak, I enjoy it.
Vouchsafe, then, to be my executrix, and take trouble on ye to dispose such legacies as I bequeath impartiality. I have not much to give, the pains are easy. Heaven will reward your piety, and thank it when I am dead, for sure I must not live. I hope I cannot.
Now beshrew thy sadness, thou turn'st me too much woman.
Weeps. Penthea, aside.
Fair eyes melt into passion. Then I have assurance encouraging my boldness. In this paper my will was charactered, which you with pardon shall now known from my own mouth.
Talk on, prithee, it is a pretty earnest.
I have left me but 3 poor jewels to bequeath. First is my youth, for though I am much old in grief, in years I am a child.
To whom that jewel?
To virgin wives, such as abuse not wedlock by freedom of desires, but covet chiefly the pledges of chaste bed for ties of love, rather than ranging of their blood. The next to married maids, such as prefer the number of honourable issues to their virtues, before the flattery of delights by marriage, may those be ever young.
A second jewel, you mean to part with?
'Tis my fame, I trust by scandal not yet untouched. For this I bequeath to memory, and to time's old daughter Truth. If ever my unhappy name find mention when I am fallen to dust, may it deserve beseeming charity without dishonour.
How handsomely thou play'st with harmless sport of mere imagination! Speak the last. I strangely like thy will.
This jewel, madam, is dearly precious to me. You must use it to the best of your discretion to employ this gift as I intend it.
Do not doubt me.
'Tis long agone, since I first lost my heart. Long have I lived without it, else for certain I should have given that too. But instead of it, great Calanthe, Sparta's heir, by service bound and by affection vowed, I do bequeath my holiest right of love, mine only brother Ithacles.
What saidst thou?
Impute not heaven, blessed lady, to ambition a faith as humbly perfect as the prayers of a devoted suppliant can endow it. Look on him, princess, with an eye of pity, how like a ghost of what he late appeared, he moves before you.
Shall I answer here, or lend my ear too grossly?
First his heart shall fall in cinders, scorched by your disdain, ere he will dare, poor man, to open eye on these divine looks. But with low-bent thoughts, accusing of such presumption. As for words, he dares not utter any but of service. Yet this lost creature loves thee. Be a princess in sweetness as in blood. Give him his doom, or raise him up to comfort.
What new change appears in my behaviour, that thou darest tempt my displeasure?
I must leave the world to revel in Elysium, and 'tis just to wish my brother some advantage here. Yet, by my best hopes, Ithacles is ignorant of this pursuit. If you please to kill him, lend him one angry look, or one sharp word. He shall soon conclude how strong a power your absolute authority holds over his life and end.
You have forgot, Panthea, how still I have a father.
But remember, I am a sister, though to me this brother hath been, you know, unkind, oh, most unkind.
Christella, Philema, where are ye? Lady, your check lies in my silence.
Re-enter Christella and Philema.
Madam, here.
I think ye sleep, ye drones. Wait on Panthea unto her lodging.
Aside.
Ithacles. Wronged lady.
My reckonings are made even. Death or fate can now nor strike too soon nor force too late.
Exeunt. End of Act 3. Act 4 of The Broken Heart by John Ford. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Act 4, Scene 1. The Palace. Ithacles' apartment. Enter Ithacles and Armistes.
Forbear your inquisition. Curiosity is of too subtle and too searching nature, and fears of love too quick, too slow of credit. I am not what you doubt me.
Nephew, be then as I would wish. All is not right. Good heaven confirm your resolutions for dependence on worthy ends, which may advance your quiet.
I did the noble Orgulus much injury, but grieved Panthea more. I now repent it. Now, uncle, now, this now is now too late. So provident is folly in sad issue, that after wit, like bankrupt's debts, stands tallied without all possibilities of payment. Sure, he's an honest, very honest gentleman, a man of single meaning.
I believe it. Yet, nephew, 'tis the tongue informs our ears. Our eyes can never pierce into the thoughts, for they are lodged too inward. But I question no truth in Orgulus. The princess, sir.
The princess? Ha!
With her the Prince of Argos.
Enter Nearchus, leading Calantha. Amylas, Christella, Philema.
Great fair one, grace my hopes with any instance of livery from the allowance of your favour. This little spark
attempts to take a ring from her finger.
A toy.
Love feasts on toys, for Cupid is a child. Vouchsafe this bounty, it cannot be denied.
You shall not value, sweet cousin, at a price what I count cheap. So cheap, that let him take it who dares stoop for it, and give it at next meeting to a mistress. She'll thank him for it, perhaps.
Cast the ring to Ithacles.
The ring, sir, is the princess's. I could have took it up.
Learn manners, prithee. To the blessed owner, upon my knees.
Kneels and offers it to Calantha.
You're saucy.
'Tis is pretty. I am belike a mistress. Wondrous pretty. Let the man keep his fortune, since he found it. He's worthy on it. On, cousin.
Ithacles to Amylas.
Follow, spaniel. I'll force you to a fawning else.
You dare not.
Exeunt. Manet, Ithacles, and Armistes.
My lord, you are too forward.
Look ye, uncle. Some such there are whose liberal contents swarm without care in every sort of plenty, who after full repasts can lay them down to sleep. And they sleep, uncle, in which silence their very dreams present 'em choice of pleasures. Pleasures, observe me, uncle, of rare object. Here heaps of gold, there increments of honours, now change of garments, then the votes of people, anon varieties of beauties, courting, in flatteries of the night, exchange of dalliance. Yet these are still but dreams. Give me felicity of which my senses waking are partakers, a real, visible, material happiness, and then too, when I stagger in expectance of the least comfort that can cherish life. I saw it, sir. I saw it, for it came from her own hand.
The princess threw it to ye.
True, and she said, well, I remember what, her cousin, Prince, would beg it.
Yes, and parted in anger at your taking on it.
Panthea, oh, thou hast pleaded with a powerful language. I want a fee to gratify thy merit, but I will do.
What is it you say?
In anger let him part, for could his breath, like whirlwinds, toss such servile slaves as lick the dust his footsteps print into a vapor? It durst not stir a hair of mine. It should not. I'd rend it up by the roots first. To be anything Calantha smiles on is to be a blessing more sacred than a petty prince of Argos can wish to equal, or in worth or title.
Contain yourself, my lord. Ixion, aiming to embrace Juno, bosomed but a cloud, and begat centaurs. 'Tis an useful moral. Ambition hatched in clouds of mere opinion proves but in birth a prodigy.
I thank ye. Yet, with your license, I should seem uncharitable to gentler fate if, relishing the dainties of a soul-settled peace, I were so feeble not to digest it.
He deserves small trust, who is not privy counsellor to himself.
Re-enter Nearchus and Amalus, with Orgelus.
Brave me!
Your excellence mistakes his temper, for Ithacles in fashion of his mind is beautiful, soft, gentle, the clear mirror of absolute perfection.
Wasn't your modesty termed any of the prince's servants spaniel? Your nurse, sure, taught you other language.
Language!
A gallant man-at-arms is here, a doctor in feats of chivalry, blunt and rough-spoken, vouchsafing not the fustian of civility, which less rash spirits style good manners.
Manners!
No more, illustrious sir. 'Tis matchless Ithacles.
You might have understood who I am.
Yes, I did. Else... But the presence calmed the affront. Y'are cousin to the princess.
To the king, too. A certain instrument that lent supportance to you colossic greatness. To that king, too, you might have added.
There is more divinity in beauty than in majesty.
Oh, fie.
This odd youth's pride turns heretic in loyalty. Sirrah, low mushrooms never rival cedars.
Exeunt Nearchus and Amalus.
Come back! What pitiful dull thing am I, so to be tamely scolded at? Come back! Let him come back, and echo once again that scornful sound of mushroom. Painted colts, like heralds' coats gilt o'er with crowns and sceptres, may bait a muzzled lion.
Cousin, thy tongue is not thy friend.
In point of honour, discretion knows no bounds. Amalus told me 'twas all about a little ring.
A ring the princess threw away, and I took up. Admit she threw it to me. What arm of brass can snatch it hence? No, could he grind the hoop to powder, he may sooner reach my heart than steal and wear one dust on it. Orgelus, I am extremely wronged.
A lady's favour is not to be so slighted.
Slighted?
Quiet these vain unruly passions, which will render into a madness.
Griefs will have their vent.
Enter Technicus with the scroll.
Welcome. Thou comest in season, reverend man, to pour the balsam of a suppling patience into the festering wound of ill-spent fury.
Orgelus, aside.
What makes thee here?
The hurts are yet but mortal, which shortly will prove deadly. To the king, Armostes, see in safety, then deliver this sealed up counsel. Bid him with a constancy peruse the secrets of the gods. O Sparta, all Lacedaemon, double named but one in fate, when kingdoms reel, mark well my saw, their heads must needs be giddy. Tell the king that henceforth he no more must inquire after my aged head. Apollo wills it so. I am for Delphos.
Not without some conference with our great master.
Never more to see him. A greater prince commands me, Ithacles. When youth is ripe and age from time doth part, the lifeless trunk shall wed the broken heart.
What's this, if understood?
List, Orgulus. Remember what I told thee long before. These tears shall be my witness.
Alas, good man.
Let craft with courtesy a while confer. Revenge proves its own executioner.
Dark sentences are for Apollo's priests. I am not Oedipus.
My hour is come. Cheer up the king. Farewell to all. O Sparta! O Lacedaemon!
Exit.
If prophetic fire have warmed this old man's bosom, we might construe his words to fatal sense.
Leave to the powers above us the effects of their decrees. My burthen lies within me. Servile fears prevent no great effects. Divine Calantha!
The gods be still propitious.
Exeunt Ithacles and Armistes.
Something oddly the bookman prated, yet it talked it weeping. Let craft with courtesy a while confer. Revenge proves its own executioner. Con it again. For what? It shall not puzzle me. 'Tis dotage of a withered brain. Penthea forbade me not her presence. I may see her, and gaze my fill. Why, see her then I may, when, if I feint to speak, I must be silent.
Exit. Scene 2. A room in Bassanes's house. Enter Bassanes, Grausus, and Phullus.
Pray use your recreations. All the service I will expect is quietness amongst ye. Take liberty at home, abroad at all times, and in your charities appease the gods, whom I with my distractions have offended.
Fair blessings on thy heart.
Phullus, aside.
Here's a rare change. My lord, to cure the itch, is surely gelded. The cuckold in conceit hath cast his horns.
Betake ye to your several occasions, and wherein I have hitherto been faulty, let your constructions mildly pass it over. Henceforth I'll study reformation. More I have not for employment.
O sweet man, thou art the very honeycomb of honesty.
The garland of good will. Old lady, hold up thy reverend snout, and trot behind me softly, as it becomes a moil of ancient carriage.
Exeunt Grausus and Phullus.
Beasts only capable of sense enjoy the benefit of food and ease with thankfulness. Such silly creatures with a grudging kick not against the portion nature hath bestowed, but men endowed with reason and the use of reason to distinguish from the chaff of abject scarcity the quintessence, soul, and elixir of the earth's abundance, the treasures of the sea, the air, nay heaven, repining at these glories of creation, are verier beasts than beasts, and of those beasts the worst am I, who was made a monarch of what a heart could wish for, a chaste wife, endeavoured what in me lay to pull down that temple built for adoration only, and levelled in the dust of causeless scandal. But to redeem a sacrilege so impious, humility shall pour before the deities I have incensed a largess of more patience than their displeased altars can require. No tempests of commotion shall disquiet the calms of my composure.
Enter Orgulus.
I have found thee, thou patron of more horrors than the bulk of manhood, hooped about with ribs of iron, can cram within thy breast. Penthea, Bassanes cursed by thy jealousies, more by thy dotage, is left a prey to words.
Exercise your trials for addition to my penance. I am resolved.
Play not with misery past cure. Some angry minister of fate hath deposed the empress of her soul, her reason from its most proper throne. But what's the miracle more new? I have seen it, and yet live.
You may delude my senses, not my judgment. 'Tis anchored into a firm resolution. Dalliance of mirth or wit can ne'er unfix it. Practise yet further.
May thy death of love to her damn all thy comforts to a lasting fast from every joy of life. Thou barren rock, by thee we have been split in ken of harbour.
Enter Ithacles, Pinthia, her hair about her ears, Armistes, Philomela, and Crystalla.
Sister, look up. Your Ithacles, your brother, speaks to ye. Why do you weep? Dear, turn not from me. Here is a killing sight. Lo, Bassanes, lamentable object.
Man, dost see it? Sports are more gamesome. Am I yet in merriment? Why dost not laugh?
Divine and best of ladies, please to forget my outrage. Mercy ever cannot but lodge under a roof so excellent. I have cast off that cruelty of frenzy which once appeared imposture, and then juggled to cheat my sleeps of rest.
Was I in earnest?
Sure. If we were all sirens we should sing pitifully, and 'twere comely music, when in parts one sung another's knell. The turtle sighs that hath lost its mate, and yet some say he must be dead first. 'Tis a fine deceit to pass away in a dream. Indeed, I've slept with mine eyes open a great while. No falsehood equals a broken faith. There is no hair sticks on my head, but, like a leaden plummet, it sinks me to the grave. I must creep thither. The journey is not long.
But thou, Penthea, hast many years, I hope, to number yet, ere thou canst travel that way.
Let the sun first be wrapped up in an everlasting darkness before the light of nature, chiefly formed for the whole world's delight, feel an eclipse so universal.
Wisdom, look ye, begins to rave. Art thou mad too, Antiquity?
Since I was first a wife, I might have been a mother to many prattling babes. They would have smiled when I smiled, and for certain I would have cried when they cried. Truly, brother, my father would have picked me out a husband, and then my little ones would have been no bastards. But 'tis too late for me to marry now. I am past childbearing. 'Tis not my fault.
Fall on me if there be a burning Etna, and bury me in flames. Sweats hot as sulphur boil through my pores. Affliction hath in store no torture like to this.
Behold a patience. Lay by thy whining grey dissimulation. Do something worth a chronicle. Show justice upon the author of this mischief. Dig out the jealousies that hatched this thraldom first with thine own poniard. Every antic rapture can roar as thine does.
Orgulus, forbear.
Disturb him not. It is a talking motion provided for my torment. What a fool am I to bandy passion! Ere I'll speak a word, I will look on and burst.
Pinthia, to Orgulus.
I loved you once.
Thou didst, strong creature, and despite of malice, for it I love thee ever.
Spare your hand. Believe me, I'll not hurt it.
My heart too.
Complain not though I wring it hard. I'll kiss it. Oh, 'tis a soft fine palm. Hark in thy ears. Like whom do I look, prithee? Nay, no whispering. Goodness. We had been happy. Too much happiness will make folk proud, and they say, but that is he.
Points at Ithacles.
And yet he paid foot home. Alas, his heart is crept in the cabinet of the princess. He shall have points, and bride laces. Remember, when last we gather roses in the garden, I found my wits, and truly you lost yours. That's he, and still 'tis he.
Again, pointing at Ithacles.
Poor soul, how idly her fancies guide her tongue.
Bassanese, aside.
Keep in vexation, and break not into clamour.
Orgulus, aside.
She has tutored me. Some powerful inspiration checks my laziness. Now let me kiss your hand, grieved beauty.
Kiss it. Alack, alack, his lips be wondrous cold. dear soul has lost his colour. Have ye ever seen a straying heart? All crannies, every drop of blood is turned to an amethyst, which married bachelors hang in their ears.
Peace usher her into Elysium. If this be madness, madness is an oracle.
Exit.
Crystalla, Philema, when slept my sister? Her ravings are so wild.
Sir, not these 10 days.
We watch by her continually. Besides, we cannot any way pray her to eat.
Oh, misery of miseries!
Take comfort. You may live well and die a good old man. But yea and nay, an oath not to be broken. If you had joined our hands once in a temple, 'twas since my father died, for had he lived, he would have done't. I must have called you father. Oh, my racked honour, ruined by those tyrants, a cruel brother, and desperate dotage. There is no peace left for a ravished wife, widowed by lawless marriage. To all memory Penthea's, poor Penthea's name as strumpet. But since her blood was seasoned by the forfeit of noble shame, with mixtures of pollution, her blood, 'tis just, be henceforth never heightened with taste of substance. Starve. Let that fullness of pleurisy have fevered faith and modesty. Forgive me. Oh, I faint.
Falls into the arms of her attendants.
Be not so wilful, sweet niece, to work thine own destruction.
Nature will call her daughter monster. What, not eat? Refuse the only ordinary means which are ordained for life? Be not my sister a murderess to thyself? Hearest thou this, Bassanes?
I am busy, for I have not thoughts enow to think. All shall be well anon. 'Tis tumbling in my head. There is a mastery in art to fatten and keep smooth the outside. Yes, and to comfort up the vital spirits without the help of food, fumes, or perfumes, perfumes or fumes. Let her alone. I'll search out the trick on't.
Lead me gently. Heavens reward ye. Griefs are sure friends. They leave without control, nor cruel nor comforts of a leprous soul.
Exeunt the maid supporting Penthea.
I grant ye, and will put in practice instantly what you shall still admire. 'Tis wonderful, 'tis super singular, not to be matched. Yet when I've done it, I've done it. Ye shall all thank me.
Exit.
The sight is full of terror.
On my soul lies such an infinite clog of massy dullness as that I have not sense enough to feel it. See, uncle, the angry thing returns again. Shall's welcome him with thunder? We are haunted, and must use exorcism to conjure down this spirit of malevolence.
Mildly, nephew.
Enter Nearchus and Amalus.
I come not, sir, to chide your late disorder, admitting that the inurement of a roughness in soldiers of your years and fortunes, chiefly, so lately prosperous, hath not yet shook off the custom of war in hours of leisure. Nor shall you need excuse, since ye are to render account to that fair excellence the princess, who in her private gallery expects it from your own mouth alone. I am a messenger but to her pleasure.
Excellent, Nearchus. Be prince still of my services, and conquer without the combat of dispute. I honour ye.
The king is on a sudden indisposed. Physicians are called for. 'Twere fit, Armostes, you should be near him.
Sir, I kiss your hands.
Exeunt Ithacles and Armistes.
Amalus, I perceive Calanthel's bosom is warmed with other fires than such as can take strength from any fuel of the love I might address to her. Young Ithacles, or ever I mistake, is lord ascendant of her devotions. One, to speak him truly, in every disposition nobly fashioned.
But can your highness brook to be so rivalled, considering the inequality of the persons?
I can, Amulus. For affections injured by tyranny or rigour of compulsion, like tempest-threatened trees unfirmly rooted, ne'er spring to timely growth. Observe, for instance, life-spent Penthea and unhappy Orgulus.
How does your grace determine?
To be jealous in public of what privately I'll further, and though they shall not know, yet they shall find it.
Exeunt. Scene 3. An apartment in the palace. Enter Hemophil and Gronius, leading Amyclus, and placing him in a chair, followed by Armistes with a box, Crotalon and Prophilus.
Our daughter is not near.
She is retired, sir, into her gallery.
Where's the prince our cousin?
New walked into the grove, my lord.
Oh, leave us, except Armistes, and you, Crotalon. We would be private.
Health unto your majesty.
Exeunt Prophilus, Hemophil, and Gronius.
What? Technicus is gone?
He is to Delphos, and to your royal hands presents this box.
Unseal it, good Armistes. Therein lie the secrets of the oracle. Out with it.
Armistes takes out the scroll.
Apollo, live our patron. Read, Armistes.
Armistes reads.
The plot in which the vine takes root begins to dry from head to foot. The stock soon withering, want of sap, doth cause to quail the budding grape. But from the neighbouring elm a dew shall drop and feed the plot anew.
That is the oracle. What exposition makes the philosopher?
This brief one only.
Reads.
The plot is Sparta, the dried vine the king, the quailing grape his daughter, but the thing of most importance not to be revealed is a near prince, the elm, the rest concealed. Technicus.
Enough. Though the opening of this riddle be but itself a riddle, yet we construe how near our labouring age draws to a rest. But must Calantha quail too, that young grape, untimely budded? I could mourn for her. Her tenderness hath yet deserved no rigour, so to be crossed by fate.
You misapply, sir. With favour let me speak it. What Apollo hath clouded in hid sense. I here conjecture her marriage with some neighbouring prince, the dew of which befriending elm shall ever strengthen your subjects with a sovereignty of power.
Besides, most gracious lord, the pith of oracles is to be then digested when the events expound their truth, not brought as soon to light as uttered. Truth is child of time, and herein I find no scruple, rather cause of comfort, with unity of kingdoms.
May it prove so, for weal of this dear nation. Where is Ithacles? Armistes, Crotalon, when this withered vine of my frail carcass on the funeral pyre is fired into its ashes, let that young man be hedged about still with your cares and loves. Much owe I to his worth, much to his service. Let such as wait come in now.
All attend here.
Enter Calantha, Ithacles, Prophilus, Orgulus, Euphranea, Hemophil, and Gronius.
Dear sir, king, father.
Oh, my royal master!
Cleave not my heart, sweet twins of my life's solace, with your forejudging fears. There is no physic so cunningly restorative to cherish the fall of age, or call back youth and vigour, as your consents in duty. I will shake off this languishing disease of time, to quicken fresh pleasures in these drooping hours of sadness. Is fair Euphranea married yet to Prophilus?
This morning, gracious lord.
This very morning, which, with your highness's leave, you may observe too. Our sister looks, methinks, mirthful and sprightly, as if her chaster fancy could already expound the riddle of her gain in losing a trifle maids know only that they know not. Pish, prithee blush not, 'tis but honest change of fashion in the garment, loose for straight, and so the modest maid is made a wife. Shrewd business. Is't not, sister?
You are pleasant.
We thank thee, Ordillis. This mirth becomes thee. But wherefore sits the court in such a silence? A wedding without revels is not seemly.
Your late indisposition, sir, forbade it.
Be it thy charge, Calantha, to set forward the bridal sports, to which I will be present, if not at least consenting. Mine own Ithacles, I have done little for thee yet.
You've built me to the full height I stand in.
Calantha, aside.
Now or never. May I propose a suit?
Demand, and have it.
Pray, sir, give me this young man, and no further account him yours than he deserves in all things to be thought worth mine. I will esteem him according to his merit.
Still thou art my daughter. Still growest upon my heart.
To Ithacles.
Give me thine hand. Calantha, take thine own. In noble actions thou'lt find him firm and absolute. I would not have parted with thee, Ithacles, to any, but to a mistress who is all what I am.
A change great king most wished for, cause the same.
Calantha, aside to Ithacles.
Thou art mine. Have I now kept my word?
Ithacles, aside to Calantha.
Divinely.
Rich fortune's guard, the favour of a princess rock thee, brave man, in ever crowned plenty. Y' are a minion of the time. Be thankful for it.
Aside.
Ho! Here's a swinging destiny. Apparent. The youth is up on tiptoe, yet may stumble.
Unto your recreations. Now convey me unto my bedchamber. None on his forehead wear a distempered look.
The gods preserve ye.
Calantha, aside to Ithacles.
Sweet, be not from my side.
Ithacles, aside to Calantha.
My whole felicity.
Exeunt carrying out the king. Orgelus stays Ithacles.
Shall I be bold, my lord?
Thou canst not, Orgelus. Call me thine own, for Profilus must henceforth be all thy sisters. Friendship, though it cease not in marriage, yet is oft at less command than when a single freedom can dispose it.
Most right, my most good lord, my most great lord, my gracious princely lord, I might add royal.
Royal? A subject royal?
Why not, pray, sir? The sovereignty of kingdoms in their non-age stooped to desert, not birth. There's as much merit in clearness of affection as in puddle of generation. You have conquered love even in the loveliest. If I greatly err not, the son of Venus hath bequeathed his quiver to Ithacles his manage, by whose arrows Calantha's breast is opened.
Can't be possible.
I was myself a piece of suitor once, and forward in preferment too. So forward that, speaking truth, I may without offence, sir, presume to whisper that my hopes and, hark ye, my certainty of marriage stood assured with as firm footing, by your leave, as any's now at this very instant. But
'tis granted, and for a league of privacy between us, read o'er my bosom and partake a secret. The princess is contracted mine.
still why not? I now applaud her wisdom. When your kingdom stands seated in your will, secure and settled, I dare pronounce you will be a just monarch. Greece must admire and tremble.
Then the sweetness of so imparadised a comfort, Orgelus, it is to banquet with the gods.
The glory of numerous children, potency of nobles, bent knees, hearts paved to tread on.
With a friendship so dear, so fast as thine.
I am unfitting for office, but for service.
We'll distinguish our fortunes merely in the title, partners in all respects, else but the bed.
The bed. Forfend at Jove's own jealousy. Till lastly we slip down in the common earth together, and there our beds are equal, save some monument to show this was the king, and this the subject.
Soft, sad music.
List, what sad sounds are these? Extremely sad ones.
Sure, from Penthea's lodgings.
Hark, a voice too.
A song within.
Oh, no more, too late. Sighs are spent. The burning tapers of a life as chaste as fate. Pure as our unwritten papers are burnt out. No heat, no light now remains. 'Tis ever night. Love is dead, let lovers' eyes locked in endless dreams, the extremes of all extremes. Hope no more, for now love dies, now love dies, implying love's martyrs must be ever, ever dying.
Oh, my misgiving heart.
A horrid stillness succeeds this deathful air. Let's know the reason. Tread softly. There is mystery in mourning.
Exeunt. Scene 4. Penthea's apartment in the palace. Enter Crystalla and Philima, bringing in Penthea in a chair, veiled. Two other servants placing 2 chairs, one on the one side and the other, with an engine, on the other. The maids sit down at her feet, mourning. The servants go out. Meet them Iphicles and Orgelus. First Servant, aside to Orgelus.
'Tis done, that on her right hand.
Good, begone.
Exeunt servants.
Soft peace enrich this room.
How fares the lady?
Dead!
Dead.
Starved!
Starved.
Me, miserable.
Tell us, how parted she from life?
She called for music, and begged some gentle voice to tune a farewell to life and griefs. Crystalla touched the lute. I wept the funeral song.
Which scarce was ended, but her last breath sealed up these hollow sounds. O cruel Iphicles and injured Orgelus! So down she drew her veil, so died.
So died?
Up, you are messengers of death. Go from us. Here's woe enough to court without a prompter. Away, and hark ye, till you see us next, no syllable that she is dead. Away, keep a smooth brow.
Exeunt Crystalla and Philima.
My lord.
Mine only sister. Another's not left me.
Take that chair. I'll seat me here in this. Between us sits the object of our sorrows. Some few tears will part among us. I perhaps can mix one lamentable story to prepare 'em. There, sit there, my lord.
Yes, as you please.
Iphicles sits down, and is caught in the engine.
What means this treachery?
Caught. You are caught, young master. 'Tis thy throne of coronation, thou fool of greatness. See, I take this veil off. Survey a beauty withered by the flames of an insulting Phaeton, her brother.
Thou mean'st to kill me, basely.
I foreknew the last act of her life, and trained thee hither to sacrifice a tyrant to a turtle. You dreamt of kingdoms, did ye? How to bosom the delicacies of a youngling princess, how with this nod to grace that subtle courtier, how with that frown to make this noble tremble, and so forth, whilst Penthea's groans and tortures, her agonies, her miseries, afflictions, ne'er touched upon your thought. As for my injuries, alas, they were beneath your royal pity, but yet they lived, thou proud man, to confound thee. Behold thy fate, this steel.
Draws a dagger.
Strike home! A courage as keen as thy revenge shall give it welcome. But prithee, faint not. If the wound close up, tent it with double force, and search it deeply. Thou look'st that I should whine, and beg compassion, as loth to leave the vainness of my glories. A statelier resolution arms my confidence, to cozen thee of honour. Neither could I, with equal trial of unequal fortune, by hazard of a duel. 'Twere a bravery too mighty for a slave intending murder. On to the execution, and inherit a conflict with thy horrors.
By Apollo, thou talk'st a goodly language. For requital I will report thee to thy mistress richly, and take this piece along. Some few short minutes determined, my resolve shall quickly follow thy wrathful ghost. Then, if we tug for mastery, Pentheus' sacred eyes shall lend new courage. Give me thy hand. Be healthful in thy parting from lost mortality. Thus I free it.
Kills him.
Yet I scorn to shrink.
Keep up thy spirit. I will be gentle even in blood. To linger pain, which I strive to cure, were to be cruel.
Stabs him again.
Nimble in vengeance. I forgive thee. Follow safety with best success, so may it prosper. Penthea, by thy side thy brother bleeds. The earnest of his wrongs to thy forced faith. Thoughts of ambition, a delicious banquet, with beauty, youth, and love, together perish in my last breath, which on the sacred altar of a long-looked-for peace now moves to heaven.
Dies.
Farewell, fair spring of manhood. Henceforth welcome best expectation of a noble sufferance. I'll lock the body safe, till what must follow shall be approved. Sweet twins, shine stars forever. In vain they build their hopes whose life is shame. No monument lasts but a happy name.
Exit. End of Act 4. Act 5 of The Broken Heart. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Act 5, Scene 1. A room in Bassanese' house. Enter Bassanese alone.
Athens. To Athens I have sent, the nursery of Greece for learning, and the fount of knowledge. For here in Sparta there's not left amongst us one wise man to direct. We're all turned madcaps. 'Tis said Apollo is the god of herbs. Then certainly he knows the virtue of 'em. To Delphos I have sent too. If there can be a help for nature, we are sure yet.
Enter Orgelus.
Honour attend thy counsels ever.
I beseech thee with all my heart, let me go from thee quietly. I will not aught to do with thee, of all men. The doubles of a hare, or in a morning salutes from a splay-footed witch, to drop 3 drops of blood at the nose just and no more. Croaking of ravens, or the screech of owls, are not so boding mischief as thy crossing my private meditations. Shun me, prithee, and if I cannot love thee heartily, I love thee as well as I can.
Noble Bassanese, mistake me not.
Phew! Then we shall be troubled. Thou wert ordained my plague. Heaven make me thankful, and give me patience too, Heaven, I beseech thee.
Accept a league of amity, for henceforth I vow, by my best genius, in a syllable, never to speak vexation. I will study service and friendship, with a zealous sorrow for my past incivility towards ye.
Heyday, good words, good words. I must believe 'em, and be a coxcomb for my labour.
Use not so hard a language. Your misdoubt is causeless. For instance, if you promise to put on a constancy of patience, such a patience, as chronicler or history ne'er mentioned, as follows not example, but shall stand a wonder and a theme for imitation, the first, the index pointing to a second, I will acquaint you with an unmatched secret, whose knowledge to your griefs shall set a period.
Thou canst not, Orgelis. 'Tis in the power of the gods only. Yet for satisfaction, because I note an earnest in thine utterance, unforced and naturally free, be resolute. The virgin bay shall not withstand the lightning with a more careless danger than my constancy the full of thy relation. Could it move distraction in a senseless marble statue, it should find me a rock. I do expect now some truth of unheard moment.
To your patience you must add privacy, as strong in silence as mysteries locked up in Jove's own bosom.
A skull hid in the earth a treble age shall sooner prate.
Lastly, to such direction as the severity of a glorious action deserves to lead your wisdom and your judgment, you ought to yield obedience.
With assurance of will and thankfulness.
With manly courage, please, then, to follow me.
Where'er, I fear not.
Exeunt omnes. Scene 2. A stateroom in the palace. Loud music. Enter Gronius and Hemophil, leading Euphranea. Crystalla and Philima leading Prophilus. Nearchus supporting Calantha. Crotalon and Amalus. Cease loud music. All make a stand.
We miss our servant Ithacles and Orgelis. On whom attend they?
My son, gracious princess, whispered some new device, to which these revels should be but usher, wherein I conceive Lord Ithacles and himself are actors.
A fair excuse for absence. As for Bassanes, delights to him are troublesome. Armostes is with the king?
He is.
On to the dance. Dear cousin, hand you the bride. The bridegroom must be entrusted to my courtship. Be not jealous, Euphranea. I shall scarcely prove a temptress. Fall to our dance.
Music. Nearchus dances with Euphranea, Prophilus with Calantha, and Crystalla with Hemophil, Philima with Gronius. They dance the first change, during which Armistes enters. Armistes in Calantha's ear.
The king your father's dead.
To the other change.
Is it possible?
They dance again. Enter Bassanes. Bassanes whispers Calantha.
O madam, Penthea, poor Penthea's starved.
Beshrew thee. Lead to the next.
Amazement dulls my senses.
They dance again. Enter Orgelis. Orgelis whispers Calantha.
Brave Ithacles is murdered cruelly.
How dull this music sounds! Strike up more sprightly. Our footings are not active like our heart, which treads the nimbler measure.
I am thunderstruck.
The last change. Cease music.
So, let us breathe a while. Hath not this motion raised fresher colour on your cheeks?
Sweet princess, a perfect purity of blood enamels the beauty of your white.
We all look cheerfully, and, cousin, 'tis methinks a rare presumption in any who prefer our lawful pleasures before their own sour censure, to interrupt the custom of this ceremony bluntly.
None dares, lady.
Yes, yes. Some hollow voice delivered to me how that the king was dead.
The king is dead. That fatal news was mine. For in mine arms he breathed his last, and with his crown bequeathed ye your mother's wedding ring, which I here tender.
Most strange.
Peace crown his ashes. We are queen, then.
Long live Calantha, Sparta's sovereign queen.
Long live the queen.
What whispered Bassanes?
That my Penthea, miserable soul, was starved to death.
She is happy. She hath finished a long and painful progress. A third murmur pierced mine unwilling ears.
that Ithacles was murdered, rather butchered, had not bravery of an undaunted spirit, conquering terror, proclaimed his last act triumph over ruin.
How? Murdered?
By whose hand?
By mine. This weapon was instrument to my revenge. The reasons are just and known. Quit him of these, and then never lived gentleman of greater merit, hope, or habiliment to steer a kingdom.
Fie, Aurelius!
Fie, brother.
You have done it?
How it was done let him report, the forfeit of whose allegiance to our laws doth covet rigour of justice. But that done it is, mine eyes have been an evidence of credit too sure to be convinced. Armastes, rent not thine arteries with hearing the bare circumstances of these calamities. Thou'rt lost a nephew, a niece, and I a wife. Continue man still. Make me the pattern of digesting evils, who can outlive my mighty ones, not shrinking at such a pressure as would sink a soul into what's most of death, the worst of horrors. But I have sealed a covenant with sadness, and entered into bonds without condition, to stand these tempests calmly. Mark me, nobles, I do not shed a tear, not for Penthea, excellent misery.
We begin our reign with a first act of justice. Thy confession, unhappy Augilus, dooms thee a sentence. But yet thy father's or thy sister's presence shall be excused. Give, Crotalon, a blessing to thy lost son. Euphranea, take a farewell, and both be gone.
Crotalon to Orgillus.
Confirm thee, noble sorrow, in worthy resolution.
Could my tears speak, my griefs were slight.
All goodness dwell amongst ye. Enjoy my sister Prophilus. My vengeance aimed never at thy prejudice.
Now withdraw.
Exeunt Crotalon, Prophilus, and Euphranea.
Bloody relater of thy stains in blood, for that thou hast reported him, whose fortunes and life by thee are both at once snatched from him. With honourable mention, make thy choice of what death likes thee best. There's all our bounty. But to excuse delays, let me, dear cousin, entreat you and these lords see execution instant, before ye part.
Your will commands us.
One suit, just queen, my last. Vouchsafe your clemency, that by no common hand I be divided from this my humble frailty.
To their wisdoms who are to be spectators of thine end, I make the reference. Those that are dead are dead. Had they not now died, of necessity they must have paid the debt they owed to nature, one time or other. Use dispatch, my lords. We'll suddenly prepare our coronation.
Exeunt Calantha, Philima, and Crystalla.
It is strange these tragedies should never touch on her female pity.
She has a masculine spirit, and wherefore should I pule, and like a girl put finger in the eye? Let's all be toughness, without distinction betwixt sex and sex.
Now, Orgillus, thy choice.
To bleed to death.
The executioner?
Myself, no surgeon. I am well skilled in letting blood. Bind fast this arm, that so the pipes may from their conduits convey a full stream. Here is a skilful instrument.
Shows his dagger.
Only I am a beggar to some charity to speed me in this execution, by lending the other prick to the other arm, when this is bubbling life out.
I am for ye. It most concerns my art, my care, my credit. Quick, fill it both his arms.
Gramercy, friendship. Such courtesies are real which flow cheerfully without an expectation of requital. Reach me a staff in this hand.
They give him a staff.
If a proneness or custom in my nature from my cradle had been inclined to fierce and eager bloodshed, a coward guilt, hid in a coward quaking, would have betrayed fame to ignoble flight and vagabond pursuit of dreadful safety. But look upon my steadiness, and scorn not the sickness of my fortune, which, since Basnius was husband to Penthea, had lain bedrid. We trifle time in words. Thus I show cunning in opening of a vein too full, too lively.
Pierces the vein with his dagger.
Desperate courage.
Honourable infamy.
I tremble at the sight.
Would I were loose?
It sparkles like a lusty wine new broached. The vessel must be sound from which it issues. Grasp hard this other stick. I'll be as nimble. But prithee look not pale. Have at ye. Stretch out thine arm with vigour and with unshook virtue.
Opens the vein.
Good. Oh, I envy not a rival fitted to conquer in extremities. This pastime appears majestical. Some high-tuned poem hereafter shall deliver to posterity the writer's glory and his subjects' triumph. How is't, man? Droop not yet.
I feel no palsies. On a pair royal do I wait in death. My sovereign, as his liegeman, or my mistress, as a devoted servant, and on Ithacles, as if no brave, yet no unworthy enemy. Nor did I use an engine to entrap his life out of a slavish fear to combat youth, strength, or cunning. But for that I durst not engage the goodness of a cause and fortune, by which his name might have outfaced my vengeance. O Technicus, inspired with Phoebus's fire, I call to mind thy augury. 'Twas perfect. Revenge proves its own executioner. When feeble man is bending to his mother, the dust it was first framed on, thus he totters.
Life's fountain is dried up.
So falls the standard of my prerogative in being a creature. A mist hangs o'er mine eyes. The sun's bright splendour is clouded in an everlasting shadow. Welcome, thou ice, that sit'st about my heart. No heat can ever thaw thee.
Dies.
Speech hath left him.
I shook hands with time. His funeral urn shall be my charge. Remove the bloodless body. The coronation must require attendance. That past, my few days can be but one morn.
Exeunt. Scene 3. A temple. An altar covered with white. 2 lights of virgin wax, during which music of recorders. Enter 4 bearing Ithacles on a hearse, or in a chair, in a rich robe, with a crown on his head. Place him on one side of the altar. After him enter Calantha in a white robe and crowned, Euphranea, Philomela, and Crystalla in white, Nearchus, Armistes, Crotalon, Prophilus, Amalus, Bassanes, Hemophil, and Gronius. Calantha goes and kneels before the altar. The rest stand off. The women kneeling behind. The recorders cease during her devotions. Soft music. Calantha and the rest rise, doing obeisance to the altar.
Our orisons are heard. The gods are merciful. Now tell me, you whose loyalties pay tribute to us, your lawful sovereign, how unskilful your duties or obedience is to render subjection to the sceptre of a virgin, who have been ever fortunate in princes of masculine and stirring composition. A woman has enough to govern wisely. Her own demeanours, passions, and divisions. A nation warlike and inured to practice of policy and labour cannot brook effeminate authority. We therefore command your counsel, how you may advise us in choosing of a husband whose abilities can better guide this kingdom.
Royal lady, your law is in your will.
We have seen tokens of constancy too lately to mistrust it.
Yet, if your highness settle on a choice by your own judgment both allowed and liked of, Sparta may grow in power, and proceed to an increasing height.
Hold you the same mind?
Alas, great mistress, reason is so clouded with the thick darkness of my infinite woes, that I forecast nor dangers, hopes, or safety. Give me some corner of the world to wear out the remnant of the minutes I must number, where I may hear no sounds but sad complaints of virgins who have lost contracting partners. of husbands howling that their wives were ravished by some untimely fate, of friends divided by churlish opposition, or of fathers weeping upon their children's slaughtered carcasses, or daughters groaning o'er their fathers' hearses, and I can dwell there, and with these keep consort as musical as theirs. What can you look for from an old, foolish, peevish, doting man, but craziness of age?
Cousin of Argus,
Madam?
were I presently to choose you for my lord, I'll open freely what articles I would propose to treat on before our marriage.
Name them, virtuous lady.
I would presume you would retain the royalty of Sparta in her own bounds. Then in Argos Armostes might be viceroy, in Messene might Crotolon bear sway, and Bassanes
I, queen? Alas, what I?
be Sparta's marshal. The multitudes of high employments could not but set a peace to private griefs. These gentlemen, Gronias and Hemophil, with worthy pensions should wait upon your person in your chamber. I would bestow Crystalla on Amylus. She'll prove a constant wife, and Philema should into Vesta's temple.
This is a testament. It sounds not like conditions on a marriage.
All this should be performed.
Lastly, for Prophilus. He should be, cousin, solemnly invested in all those honours, titles, and preferments which his dear friend and my neglected husband too short a time enjoyed.
I am unworthy to live in your remembrance.
Excellent lady.
Madam, what means that word? Neglected husband?
Forgive me. Now I turn to thee, thou shadow of my contracted lord. Bear witness all. I put my mother's wedding ring upon his finger. 'Twas my father's last bequest.
Places a ring on the finger of Ithacles.
Thus I new marry him whose wife I am. Death shall not separate us. O my lords, I but deceived your eyes with antic gesture. When one news straight came huddling on another of death and death and death, still I danced forward, but it struck home, and here and in an instant. Be such mere women, who with shrieks and outcries can vow a present end to all their sorrows, yet live to court new pleasures, and outlive them. They are the silent griefs which cut the heartstrings. Let me die smiling.
'Tis a truth too ominous.
One kiss on these cold lips, my last.
Kisses Ithacles.
Crack, crack. Argos now is Sparta's king. Command the voices which wait at the altar now to sing the song I fitted for my end.
Sirs, the song.
A song.
Glories, pleasures, pomps, delights, and ease can but please outward senses when the mind is or untroubled or by peace refined. Crowns may flourish and decay, beauties shine but fade away. Youth may revel, yet it must lie down in a bed of dust. Earthly honours flow and waste, time alone doth change and last. Sorrows mingled with contents prepare, rest for care, love only reigns in death, though art can find no comfort for a broken heart.
Calantha dies.
Look to the queen.
Her heart is broken, indeed. O royal maid, would thou hadst missed this part, yet 'twas a brave one. I must weep to see her smile in death.
Wise Technicus. Thus said he, when youth is ripe, and age from time doth part, the lifeless trunk shall wed the broken heart. Is here fulfilled.
I am your king.
Long live Nearchus, king of Sparta.
Her last will shall never be digressed from. Wait in order upon these faithful lovers as becomes us. The counsels of the gods are never known, till men can call the effects of them their own.
Exeunt. The Epilogue. Where noble judgments and clear eyes are fixed, to grace endeavour, there sits truth not mixed with ignorance, though censures may command belief which talk not till they understand. Let some say this was flat, some here the scene fell from its height, another that the mean was ill observed in such a growing passion as it transcended either state or fashion. Some few may cry, "'Twas pretty well, or so, but," and there shrug in silence. Yet we know our writer's aim was in the whole addressed, well to deserve of all but please the best, which granted, by the allowance of the strain, the broken heart may be pieced up again. End of Act 5. End of The Broken Heart by John Ford.